is to get back on track after you've been on holiday. I woke up this morning and I planned to, I tried to start my day off right. Tried to plan what I was going to do. I put my to-do list on Instagram to sort of hold myself accountable, and I had planned to record a podcast episode, and then there was I've already forgotten it. Record a podcast episode, and then I'd planned to put something together to promote that, and then on top of that I needed to edit the podcast episode because for some reason I decided it should go out today. And then what else was there? There was something else. I think I put down content planning and also walk into town to go to my favourite place, which is a cafe where I like to sit and do my little bits and bobs on my laptop. But yeah, I've just had a shower and dragged myself out of bed at 12 o'clock, which is pretty late. But so yeah, I've been sat here for like half an hour. Do you ever find yourself doing that? Just like you've got half dressed, like I haven't even put my bottom half of underwear on, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm just sat on the end of my bed and just overthinking everything. Like I need to wait for my hair to dry until I can record this episode, which I haven't fully planned yet. The fact that this stabilization thing is going nuts on my phone screen and it's probably going to ruin the audio of this. Like the thought of walking into town is not particularly inviting right now. The fact that I've got this fucking huge cold sore because I've been on holiday and been paragliding and stuff, and I came back and literally the next day I got a cold sore, which I do get sometimes. I haven't had one for a long time, but this time I got two. Like I got a little one here. But yeah, it's just finding it hard to get back on track, and the podcast has been down, not doing much for a few months now. I haven't even really posted on social media, so I mean it's fine. Like it's not like everyone's just disappeared, but I don't know, you put yourself under that pressure, don't you? Like, oh, we need to get going again. Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this sort of thing? But yeah, just I really want these little videos and updates to be honest, and I was going to wait until I'd done my hair and all of that jazz, but I think actually if I'm being 100% honest, recording this now with my hair still all wet and not even dressed yet and things like that is more honest than me doing those things first and kind of glossing over this initial hump. So yeah, the plan today, I've been to the Colorism events. There's been 2 this month in Southampton, and I managed to actually catch both of them around my holiday. Oh my god, my arm aches so much. Yeah, I managed to catch both of them in between holiday. The first one was just before I went, and then I was away for 2 weeks and then I came back again, and I really want to reflect on those and do a bit of a solo episode just talking about how it's got me thinking about my heritage and things like that, because it's part of the podcast that I've wanted to do, like talking about creative spaces and these things that are going on in the city, but also I feel like it's something that I feel like a duty to talk about it in a way, because it is something that relates to me in that way, and I think it's something that, especially for me, a lot of people don't know that I am mixed race. So yeah, it's brought up some weird feelings, some comforting feelings, bit of a mixed bag this month. So I want to do a bit of an episode talking about that, and to be honest, I'm not anticipating that many people would listen to it, but maybe it would be a nice thing for me to do, even if I watch it back myself in a few years, or you never know, like people might see it and relate to it in that way. But I'm just anticipating that, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of people talking about this, and it is something that I do feel like quite vulnerable and uncomfortable talking about in a way, but yeah, I want to reflect on that experience. So yeah, I really need to get dressed, and my arm is killing because I haven't even set up a tripod to do this, and the thing is like flickering like mad because my phone's not straight, and I still don't even know what I'm going to wear today, and I will confront that issue once my hair's dry. So I'll probably just wear my dressing gown, and I think the chances of me actually going to this cafe are fairly slim now because I'm not even dressed and it's nearly 1:45. So yeah, the joys of coming back on holiday into a different season I do not recommend. Like, we got back and we went back in time. Yeah, back in time because the clocks had gone forward that same day, and then it was also like 10 degrees. No, that's a lie, sorry. It was a few degrees colder and the leaves were starting to fall and stuff like that, whereas when we left it was still sunny and the clocks were at a different time. And then there's just like the 3-hour time change in general. But I think it's also because we were on quite an active holiday. Like, as I said, I went paragliding, so suddenly coming back from 6 days of doing that and travelling around Istanbul and things is just a bit of a change to suddenly being cooped up at home doing your 9 to 5. Like, I work from home, so it's not so bad. I don't have to go into an office or anything, but it's still like a hard turn back to reality. But yeah, I've been watching loads and loads of economics videos as well, which is very unlike me. I don't really know what's going on. Maybe it's a side effect of reaching over 30, but yeah, since the budget came out, I've been watching loads of videos about all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, just yeah, it's a weird time. So I got dressed. I actually feel slightly better because I started recording that video. So I kind of feel like I've achieved something now. And this is what I went for. Casual. But it helps sometimes to just put something on because then you can get out of the funk of deciding what to wear. I do that sometimes. I just put my dressing gown on instead of spending hours deciding what I'm going to wear. I'm not particularly happy with how my hair's drying right now, but I'll worry about that later. So I thought I'd just turn this into a bit of a day in the life type of video because I haven't done one of these yet, I don't think. Again, probably no one will watch it, but you know, why not? Yep, now I'm doing washing, which has nothing to do with the podcast. Sometimes getting creative and getting yourself out of that funk of kind of feeling in control and having the power is doing very simple things. So I'm going to do the washing because it needs to be done. Yeah, I went into the kitchen and realised that really needs to be cleaned as well. But my partner went off to America this morning, so I got woken up at 8:30 and then went back to sleep, which is probably why I woke up so late. But now I'm in the lounge and I've just walked through, and I'll have to stop it and then send it again. So fun fact, I actually used to be a cleaner. Don't know how many people actually know that, but yeah, I think I'm a pretty dab hand at doing these things quickly, but I do not recommend not wearing gloves like I just did. I was thinking while I was cleaning, and I couldn't really record it because of the washing machine sound, but while I was in the kitchen, I wanted to show you guys the pictures on the fridge, which you might have spotted are little passport pictures. And I think it's hilarious, but people always come, whenever people come over, they're always like, what is that? And it's 2 passport photos of me and my partner that I've stuck on the fridge. I say photos, they're more like mug shots. And everyone always is like, why have you got those? But I think they're hilarious because they're everyone's worst picture, because you're not allowed to smile. You don't really show very much personality. It's literally just about matching. Ooh, getting an arm workout today. Matching what you look like. So yeah, I think they're hilarious. So I stuck them to the fridge. And I was also thinking while I was cleaning the kitchen, because I feel like it's kind of an interesting video at this point, because I've never really shown everyone my like home space, which is kind of a creative space in a way, especially the kitchen. And I wanted to tell you on the topic of the colorism episode that I'm going to make later, is just that my dad actually taught me how to cook, and I was thinking about it while I was cleaning, because it's one of those interesting things. It's like remembering where a skill came from, and I think cooking is definitely very creative, but I learned like the core skills from my dad, and then I probably started to construct my own like meals and flavors and things like that once I went to uni, because that was the first time that I realized that I knew how to chop an onion and stuff like that. So yeah, I was just thinking about that while I was in there, and I did have a slightly deeper thought which I've forgotten now, which is the downside of not recording these things at the minute that you think them. So here's one of my other unfinished tasks. This is a print by Edgar Lechargeux, and he gave this to me ages ago when we recorded a podcast episode. And I've only just framed it properly because the frame was broken when I arrived and I was supposed to fix it, but I didn't, and then I just gave up. So for all of you who think I'm really productive and doing a podcast, sometimes yes, but sometimes also no. So I'm still deciding where to put that picture. I really like it and I love the yellow, so I'm kind of thinking about putting it in our bedroom. But yeah, I'm not sure. It feels quite kitcheny too because of it's not bananas, I think it's called mate or something like that. So yeah, I still need to put that up. So I'm doing well. Hello again. It is 2 days after I was recording last time. I basically didn't muster up the energy to record the episode like I said I would on Sunday, but I'm just setting up after work to record the episode this evening on Bonfire Night. So it should be interesting to hear whether there's any sirens, but also fireworks in the background, but hopefully there won't be too much. So I'm just in the podcast room / my living room, and I wanted to show you what it looks like before I start recording, because I'm not a fancy Nancy. I don't have a dedicated space that I use every month or like have a dedicated room at home or anything like that. So I literally just rejig my living room after work or at the weekend, depending on when I'm recording. So I thought it'd be fun to show you the room. So as you can see, we're coming into the room. It's a bit messy at the moment. I hate that sofa, so don't judge me on the material. So this is my little spot where I generally record, and I have the microphone sticking out like this. And that's just because behind here was actually the wardrobe, and I took the doors off. So our TV's behind here, but I'll put my laptop behind there to connect it up, and it's just on this stand that I got on Amazon. And I'll just shut the curtains. So the curtains are on a big tension rod, which, because we're renting, obviously I can't put something actually into the wall, but that just holds the curtains up. The curtains are pretty long. I think they're like, well, they're longer than standard curtains. So yeah, that's the little area. So I have a nice orangey coloured background, which makes it a bit more interesting to videos. And then I'm just setting up in the background. Today's episode, I'm going to be talking about heritage, hair, and creativity and community. So I wanted to put this picture that I haven't framed yet. Well, I have framed, sorry. I haven't put it up yet. That Edgar did, because I thought that would be a nice little token to a local artist in a relevant episode. So you can't quite see it because the lights. That's a really lovely print. And then I've got my little candle on my pile of magazines that I've had for God knows how long. They're all from when I was at uni studying architecture. And then in here I've got some pictures that I still haven't framed. And I cover up the floor with rugs because I really don't like the grey carpet. It's super beige. Got a lamp up there. And then this is where I normally sit and watch TV. But today we have got the tripod just here so I can shoot and record roughly like this area and have a nice looking podcast video without it costing me loads of money, but also not being too much of a faff to sort out. So yeah. And then this window is a bit concerning when I first set up this room because I was a bit worried that the sound was going to be quite bad in here because obviously, as you can see, there's not like loads and loads of stuff in here. Everyone knows how much it costs to furnish a room, so yeah, there's a lot of empty spaces, but I'm hoping to put some more pictures on this wall. But yeah, I should probably start sorting this out properly and recording this episode because my hot chocolate is going cold. So over here. Hey! I've still got a cold sore, so I had to record the episode with a cold sore. Don't know why that bothers me, but it does. So I just recorded an episode about a bit of a personal topic, which was about creating space for conversation, colorism and creativity. And it was a bit more of a personal topic because I was talking about my mixed race heritage and my relation with my hair and how I found the colorism events, which, as I say in the podcast, is the first time that I was really in a room full of people who identify as mixed race or black or just part of that side of my family and heritage that I've never really experienced. So I knew this was going to be a vulnerable topic for me, and I literally got to certain bits and talking about things that don't sound that big of a deal, and I literally like choked up and cried. Like, not full on, but you know when you can't talk and your eyes are like, you're like, oh my god. I knew it was going to be sensitive, but I didn't think I felt that sensitive about it. And I just posted an Instagram story, and I'm kind of wondering, and I guess asked people, or at least gave them the option to share their opinion of whether I keep those bits in. I think for the podcast, some of the bits I felt like I couldn't talk for ages. It probably wasn't actually that long, but it felt like ages. So I don't know whether I'll leave those in the audio version, or I might post it on Spotify as a video podcast, because I think it'll make more sense then. Because if you're listening and someone's like welling up, you're just like, what's going on? And I don't normally do that. Normally I post it through the hosting platform which I use, which is Buzzsprout, and that doesn't give you the option to upload to Spotify as a video podcast within that platform. You can do it in Spotify yourself, but I don't normally bother doing that. So yeah, I'm just gonna see what people think, and I think I'll just edit the audio and video together like I normally do. Let me know if you want a video of how I normally do those things, because I know that can be a minefield when you first start a podcast. And yeah, so in limbo at the moment, but I think I'll start because I've recorded the episode now, and that was the main thing that I was trying to get over and get sorted. So yeah, feeling like a bit vulnerable and exposed, but I feel like that's kind of good in a way. As I say on the episode as well, I don't normally do personal reflective episodes or talk about myself in this way, so it'll be interesting to see whether the audience and reception to it is good or whether it's something that nobody listens to. Like I said before, I don't think that many people will listen to this, but we'll see what happens. I feel like I'm doing all of these videos with wet hair. Welcome to my desk. It is the day after the failed crying episode on the podcast. I did an Instagram story and asked people. I basically said I fessed up and said that I got a bit emotional on the podcast episode, and I posted a story with a poll, and I said, do I keep it in or cut it out? And it's really funny because a few people responded, and one person, because you don't know what people have voted on a poll until you vote on it, obviously. I don't think you can undo it on Instagram. So one person said chop it out and everyone else said keep it in. And I had a bit of a wobble after recording. I felt like quite untethered. I'm not a particularly sensitive, emotional person generally, or maybe I am. Maybe I'm just in denial. But I was in the kitchen kind of making dinner because I was like, right, I'm tired, I'm gonna watch TV and stuff now. Bearing in mind this is like 10 o'clock by this point, so I really should have been winding down to go to sleep. But yeah, so I was in the kitchen and I was just like stewing over it. And I decided, I think, that I might re-record the episode, because the thing is, if I post the one as that I've already recorded as a podcast, I just think it's not going to hang together, right? Because there's bits where I got emotional, where it's going to be silent, and without that visual aspect of that, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it just sounds silent, and I had a like wobbly crying voice and stuff like that. And also I was just really conscious of the thing that people might perceive it as like a Me Too kind of thing. Like, I never really got involved in that, and I don't want to be that person like crying on social media, honestly. But then at the same time, that's how I felt at that moment, and whether it was because I was tired or it was actually because of the topic, I think it was probably a combination. But I just don't want to seem like one of those people who's like talking about a sensitive topic, but they're like, I'm definitely not on the very hard side of talking about topics like heritage and colorism and skin tone and race and all of that kind of stuff. Like, would perceive myself as a very fortunate person in that sense. as I said on the episode, because I have a choice, that it's just a hard topic. Like, part of me was wondering whether I even put the podcast episode out, but then at the same time, like, it does relate to me, but it feels almost like not authentic. And it's just really difficult. This is one of the things with being mixed race and not looking like you are. And I meant to say this in the podcast episode, it's almost like, if you go to another country and you don't speak the language, but you know words, and it's kind of like you understand what's happening and you're there and it's cool and everything. But I don't know, you just feel like a little bit disconnected all the time, like almost like the connection's here, but you're kind of like this. I don't know. It's a hard one to explain if you haven't experienced it. But that's the point of the episode. And that emotional moment was real, like it wasn't me pretending to be upset. But I know people do that on social media, and I just really don't want to be that person. So I'm thinking that I might just re-record it, and I'll post the original cut that I recorded last night on YouTube, and then I think I'll re-record, because there's some bits that I wanted to fix anyway. Like, I didn't properly know the names of everyone that spoke because I didn't have my notes. I forgot to bring my notebook in, and the names of things I mentioned, like, I just want to get that right. So I think I'll re-record the actual audio version but still make the original available. And it might be that I use it for like social media later if it's kind of talking about, because I've never re-recorded an episode, like I've never done that. So that's part of this process as well. It's navigating how to deal with this, and bearing in mind that I still want it to be interesting for people to listen to. I don't want it to be just like, an artist always feels like their work's not quite finished, but then at the same time they're not going to put something out on display or whatever that isn't very good. Like, just in general, like, there's a difference between it being a work in progress and something that you feel like could be improved, and putting out something that's crap. Yeah, I'm just sat at my work desk and I just made myself a cup of tea. This is my favourite cup. It's not very pretty, but I have this tea. It's called Yogi tea, and there is a piece of like wisdom on the tea label. So I don't know if you can see this. So this is on here. I'll read it to you. So it says, "In life, don't create an impression, create a trust," which is quite poignant, because that's kind of what's going on in this moment. Is the podcast isn't about like it says, creating an impression and just being like, oh, I do a podcast, blah blah blah. It's about building connection, because obviously this podcast is local, so these are people who I see when I'm out and about. It's not like far removed of it being someone that I'm never going to meet and things like that. So yeah, just this episode is, I knew it was going to be turbulent, but like, I'm glad I recorded it, to be honest, because it's one of these things, and I kind of wish I'd recorded it yesterday when I was a bit like untethered, because that also would have been a authentic moment. But the only thing is, now I've got to fit in editing it, recording it, doing the video. So I've given myself more to do now, but hopefully I'll come out with 2 versions and people can decide which they want to watch, and the audio won't fall below the usual standards of the podcast. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, and I need to join Instagram Live for work in a minute, so I I'm not on the live, by the way, so I wouldn't be dressed like this with my wet hair and fleece on. It's because I just got out of the shower. But I need to join that, and then I think I'll record the episode just after work. And then I'm going to an event in the evening, like a local singing thing, so that should be fun. And I've managed to put my standing desk together, so we might try and record something involving that. I looked at the weight limit and I could actually like lie on it and move it up, but I'm not going to do that. So yeah, the next clip will be something to do with the new episode.